Hi everyone, this is William OHanlon, resident and politician in Washington Township, New Jersey. I just wanted to give everybody an update on what a great legal victory I just obtained. Represented by CSG Law from Roseland, New Jersey, a big law firm. Lee Vartan is my defense attorney, and I had a case dismissed and expunged that went before the Honorable Judge Whitcraft in about 5 minutes. As soon as I was there. On April 5th of 2021, I was arrested by Detective Fred Volpe of the Washington Township Police Department. And Fred Volpe is someone I knew from high school, and someone that I mistreated in high school. And I feel bad about that. And I even wrote him a letter of apology about the way I mistreated him. I must have really embarrassed him for him to falsely have me arrested. So I was arrested. They said I stole money from my father. Now, in 2015, 16, early 16, I moved in with my father in Washington Township, but this is my childhood home. So I always consider it my home, my residence, no matter where I go. And I moved in to help my father take care of his house. He lives at 199 Dorado Avenue. Look it up. It's a 3,500 square foot, big, very monstrosity, big home, a lot of stairs. And he'd asked me to come in and help him because he didn't want to go into assisted living. And, he could still drive and stuff, but he was in his, he's like 85 years old. It's hard to take care of a house at all, never mind something that big when you're that age. So that's what had happened. I had moved in there. I was taking care of my father. And then one day I was notified by Detective Fred Volpe that he had received information from the New Jersey State Police that I was stealing from my father. What are you talking about? I never stole any money from my father. I paid for everything. I love my father. And so that's what happened. I was arrested by Detective Fred Volpe, and I went before Judge Mary Beth Kramer over at Gloucester County. She's a Superior Court judge there. And my prosecutor was Jackie Caban. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? If I can just talk to her, what are you talking about? I thought it was like that. But I didn't know that the fix was in. I didn't know it was corruption. I didn't know it was so that someone could steal all the money from my father that he had. So, which was $1 million. And so I'm thinking, geez, I'll just go in there and I'll talk to them and they'll see, hey, I never took any money from my dad. I love my father. And, but no, Jackie Caban, Counselor Jackie Caban, the prosecutor, proceeded to present information to Judge Mary Beth Kramer, and that information was false. She said I had an extensive criminal record, and I don't have any criminal record, like I was a threat to the community or something. So I'm thinking, where is all this coming from? What is going on? I didn't know at the time. I really didn't know. I know now, but I didn't know at the time. And my criminal record consists of this. I have 3 misdemeanor DUIs in New Jersey over the past 40 years. Now, I'm not trying to minimize a DUI, all right? People get killed driving cars, when they're drunk. It's a horrible thing to do. But in New Jersey, it's not a felony. So I've lived felony-free my entire life. On February 1st of 2016, I got sober. I said this to God. I turned my life over to God, and I got sober. And what I said to God was this: God, I offer myself to you to build with me and to do with me as you will. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of your power, your love, and your way of life. May I do your will always. And that's the agreement I made with God. If he keeps me sober, I'll do whatever he wants me to do with the rest of my life. And I've been sober ever since. 8.5 years now. I think February I'll have 9 years. So best thing I ever did was to do that. So I just wanted to let everybody know a little bit, about me. I'm a spiritual guy. I'm a devout Catholic. I wouldn't steal from anybody. So this was a big shock to me. And this was my first introduction to the corruption that goes on in our Department of Justice. Since then, there's been a lot more corruption, and I'll get into that another time. But for today, I went before the Honorable Judge Woodcraft. It was on November 7th. I was arrested April 5th of 2021. So, I mean, this has been hanging over me for years. You have to call, you have to check in, you have to do all kinds of stuff. And within 5 minutes of hearing the information, the Honorable Judge Woodcraft dismissed the case and expunged the case. So 20 minutes after I got out of court, I called my pretrial officer, and she said, Bill, it's as if it's already done. It's already been signed off and expunged. I can't even see your information anymore. It's as if it never happened. And I was like, wow. And she said, see, if they want to do something fast, they can, And they did. And Judge Mary Beth Kramer is the one who signed off on it. And I've always been upset because why would the judge allow the corruption into her courtroom? I mean, she should have called and apologized to me for doing what she did. They put me in jail for 2 days. There was no evidence. I mean, it was just ridiculous. I'm not going to litigate the case. I'll let the case speak for itself. In 5 minutes, it was dismissed and expunged. And the Honorable Judge Woodcraft was, pretty PO'd. He was ticked off. And that's why he did that. And I want to thank the judge for that. He's very well respected and liked in Washington Township. He loves the law, but people just want to know that they're going to get a fair shake. Even if you're guilty, you just want to know that you're going to get a fair shake before a judge. And that's what he does. That's what he does. He's tough when he needs to be, and lenient when he needs to be. And that's why people respect Judge Woodcraft. So I want to thank Judge Woodcraft for that. But, Jackie Caban had charged me several years ago on this. I mean, come on. And we had been trying to reach her and say, hey, what's going on? There was no evidence, and I provided canceled checks of everything I paid for my father, put a new roof on the house. It was like $150,000 in canceled checks. I took care of my dad, like anybody who loves their father would do. I absolutely love and adored my father, and he loved me. And, and I miss him very much. He has since passed away. But Jackie Caban knew the New Jersey State Police and was communicating with them both on a professional and a personal basis by cell phone. We made over 100 calls to the office and could never get her on the phone. To this day, never did. The complaint was false, and she knew it. She knew it. And as a result of that complaint, the judge said I couldn't have any contact with my father, Judge Mary Beth Kramer. I couldn't talk to him, not even by phone. And, so I went from taking care of my father every day to just abruptly not being able to see him again or speak to him. I mean, could you imagine what my father thought? He must have thought I just abandoned him. I mean, it's just very cruel people, very cruel and corrupt people. And, so this is something that we need to fix now that Trump's taken over. And this is something, arrests need to be made on this, because the whole thing was corruption. $1 million at least was taken from my father's bank accounts. And it all began with this charge. They had to get me out of the picture in order to get at the money, and they did. So I want to know. I mean, as far as from what I heard, I don't know any of these people. I hear they're all driving new cars, brand new cars. Yeah, I guess you could do that. You know, the big rumor is that Detective Fred Volpe took a $10,000 bribe to do this. That's the rumor. I can't prove it, but people are talking about it. I have filed complaints. No one will investigate. They're not going to investigate each other. They're not going to investigate each other and arrest each other. So things have changed now. The DOJ is going to be cleaned up. It's going to be cleaned up in Washington Township, and it's got to be cleaned up in Gloucester County, because you can't function, can't have a free society if, you know, the people that are supposed to protect you are stealing your money and putting you in jail. You just can't have it. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So as a politician, I will be running for office with a team for the council if the election stands. There was corruption in this election, and we'll be filing a complaint so that it doesn't get certified for mayor of Washington Township. But I just wanted to let everybody know, I'm going to shed light on what's going on, the corruption, and I'm going to name names. Detective Fred Volpe took a $10,000 bribe. That's the rumor. Can't prove it. How do you prove it? You can't. But that's the rumor. And then what? Sends it over to Counselor Jackie Caban, who has a personal and professional relationship with my accusers. What? You know, New Jersey State Police. And then has me locked up. And then, of course, Judge Mary Beth Kramer says that I can no longer have any contact with my father. And within 5 minutes of me getting before an honest judge, my case was expunged and dismissed within 5 minutes. It's the most unbelievable thing. So there are good people in the system, but you know, the people, the corrupt people in the system, we need to get them out. We need to get them out, and maybe worse. Maybe worse. So these are crimes that are being committed against residents that have done nothing but wanted to take care of my dad. Let him live his life out in his home. That's all we wanted. And, you know, to make matters even worse, my father had passed away a couple years ago, and when he passed away, I was told that I wasn't allowed to attend the funeral because of these charges. I wasn't allowed to go to my own father's funeral. You know, what would you do? You know, I'm talking to the people of Washington Township. You know how we are, all right? What would you do if somebody did this to you, right? You're thinking the same thing I am, but I'm going the legal route. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to ask for some kind of outside prosecutor to investigate this because, you know, do you want to know what kind of people we're dealing with? I'm not allowed to go to my father's funeral because I'm charged with stealing from my dad. I couldn't say goodbye to him. He was at St. Peter and Paul, right? At Agassiz. I couldn't go say goodbye to my father. You know, it was heart-wrenching, heart-wrenching. And I know what you're thinking. It was what I was thinking. I'm going to go anyway. I don't care what they say. Let them arrest me. They're not going to stop me from going to my father's funeral. But my wife said, Bill, what am I going to do if they lock you up? You know we're dealing with corruption. It's like another year to 2 years before I had a court date that I would have been locked up for nothing. And she was right. She was right. I could hold my head up high because I believe in treating people good when they're alive. Not after they're dead and making it a big deal at the funeral and spending a bunch of money. Treating people with respect and love when they're alive. And I feel proud that I was able to do that and reconnect with my father. You know, it was one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life because I really learned a lot about my family, living with my father at this age. All that adolescent and childhood stuff, I mean, all that was gone. You know, I'm 60 years old now. You know, I was like in my mid-50s when I moved in to help him along. So there was no more of that. He was talking to me about how he got his first job in Philadelphia, because we're originally from the Bronx, New York, and how someone in Manhattan knew his family, his mom's sister, who was still in Ireland, you know, and told them about the job in Philadelphia. My father got this big job at Fred. Just stuff like that, that I never would have known about my dad. I never would have known it. He was a Trekkie. He loved Star Trek, Captain Kirk. That one. I'm a Star Trek New Generation with Captain Picard, but he liked Star Trek. He was a Trekkie. We used to watch those channels at night on that, I forget what station it is, but they play all these old TV series like Dragnet and all different things, Leave It to Beaver, and we would always sit down and watch Star Trek together. I like Star Trek too, and it was great. It was great. So Dad, I may not have been able to be at your funeral and say goodbye to you, but, I would never give away, I would never trade a moment for the time that we got to spend together in your house before you passed away. I still love you, Dad, and, the people that had done this to the OHanlon family, that stole our money, had me falsely arrested, they're going to pay the price legally, because I'm not letting it go. And if someone did this to you and your father, Washington Township, would you let it go? I know, you wouldn't. You're like me. We're Washington Township OGs. We're not raised that way. We're not raised that way. We do anything for our families. And I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go. So, all of this, they think they're cute and they're going to get away with it. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Donald Trump. And he's going to make sure that people like me that have been targeted and persecuted illegally by corrupt prosecutors, judges, and cops are going to pay the price. We need to see people be arrested over this. Follow the money. It's $1 million. We all know you got paid out. So I'm not letting it go. I am running for office. I'm not going to let it get me down. It's just making me stronger. But I want everyone to know what happened. I am calling people out by name. I'm shedding light on the corruption. And we're going to try and remove the corruption from Washington Township. We're going to try and get rid of the Denny's, the Taco Bell. Oh my God. Don't get me started on that. But thank you, Honorable Judge Woodcraft, the residents of Washington Township, thank you. We have an honest judge, and we really appreciate you. So, residents of Washington Township, I have been victorious. I have been exonerated, and there'll be nothing on my record. So I just wanted to let everybody know. Dismissed and expunged. Dismissed and expunged. So it's over. I got another legal case I'm going to fight, but right now I'm 5-0. I'm 5-0. 5 victories, no losses. So we're going to go after the corruption. Residents of Washington Township, thank you.